Okay, what is going on, guys? Welcome to finishing up Obi Wan Kenobi. Should be able to get him all finished up. I'm like half tempted to do a little bit of dry brushing over the white. Just don't think I'd be able to really get to all of it, but we'll come back to that closer to the end, I think. Sorry about that. But again, if I just decide to leave it, I think I'm happy with how this is currently. Okay. So I was contemplating if I was gonna do the just straight speed paint for the face, or if I want to try to base coat it and then maybe do the speed paint over it and then go over with highlights. I think just for the sake of learning, I think we're gonna try to base coat and stuff for this. Trying to get this in a useful spot that I can kind of see what's going on. But base coating and stuff, as we have discovered, exactly my strong suit. But we're going to do it anyways. Kind of worry about getting it on parts of the hair because I don't know if I'm going to be able to cover that up. But right, we're going to do it anyway. I almost feel like the vortex mixers aren't super great at mixing these tiny little Citadel pots because they're so small. They don't have like the length to let the bottom swirl when you're pressing on it. Maybe I'm... Let me see if I can't get this guy over here usable again. We'll try to use this stupid wet palette. Or if I'm supposed to put paint or like water on top of the paper, or I think I am. I think it's supposed to just pull. It's supposed to pull water from the sponge through the paper, I think is the idea. Although I've had a couple people buy some cheap wet palettes that apparently just don't. The paper that these cheap ones come with aren't particularly great. Maybe that's part of this. Citadel paint is very thick though. Like, is it supposed to do that? I don't know. It comes off pretty well. Well, go back and touch up parts of his hair, I think. Kind of forgot the mustache was down there, I'm not gonna lie.
Who above all else desire power.
Tell if that's part of the armor or if that's part of the neck. Looks like. Okay, it's a tiny little piece actually. I think that I need to touch up on that mustache, so take that. Too bad. Now I've also got flesh wash. I have never really used that. So I don't know, maybe I do feel like this has a really pinky hue to it. This guy face was actually done with the same skin tone and Crusader skin over the top. Yeah, I also just said screw it and got the pro version of this, but there we go. Oh yeah. Okay. I can unlock it and lock it now. Hopefully if autofocus starts wanting to play nice, I can fix it. But theoretically, this little pile of paint should stay usable, I think. I guess I could try this. Worst case, it sucks. We're also just going to be finishing up Obi Wan today because looking at the stuff that I have, there's not really anything that I want to redo right now. Not any one particular character anyways. So we'll reevaluate that at some point. Also got a bunch of these fellas to paint for Don't Look Back. But Wouldn't use that as a gateway drug for my fiance to get into it. A bigger brush for this. A little bit of this off. The out of the eyes. I think I want to try to put any on the lips, just they're so kind of obscured anyways. I might just leave that there, honestly. We'll just let that dry. Okay, so gold is not super aggressive, but we're going to use it anyways. Like this silver. Honestly, I need to look and see if they have a different silver because the silver is very dark. It's a good like gunmetal, not a very good silver. So might be a better move these pieces of shit. Paint it. And then just Nuln Oil over the whole thing. Just do that actually. Again, I'm not going for perfect accuracy here. I don't think I'm supposed to use these on a wet palette, but you know, I don't even know how to use the damn. Worst case, I have to buy a new one. Place this cheap. Yeah, you know. I want to try to hit that with copper. My brush is small enough to slice that silver and get to the copper. Without covering the hand. Okay, A for effort. I'm getting my use out of it. Bronze. Use the little brush for this too. Try not to flood out this whole section. I just want it on this ring. Also, update on the microphone situation for the game room. It is the receiver that I have, I cannot run 2 microphones on it because they fight over the frequency and they will cut each other out. So we may just have to use the same little lapels that I'm using. Phone, which is not ideal, but now that I do have a network set up down there, hopefully that'll make it a little bit better. But for right now, I don't really have a fix in mind for the microphones, unfortunately. And kind of a similar solution with the microphones or the dice camera. My original plan did not quite pan out, so I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board on that because I need to have that. The microphones I have an alternative for, but we'll see. That's the basics of his lightsaber colors blocked in. I'm hoping the Nolan oil will fill out what I'm looking for. And flesh wash. Pretty good, actually. Let's see. On top of his mustache there on the right side is a little bit of overlap, so I have to fix that. Also curious if I could use this. I bought this to try this as a skin tone and I just didn't like it. If I could use this almost as a highlight color, because it is very much so a different color. And it doesn't look like this wash actually toned it down as much as I would have thought. So I'm going to try put this in the mixer. I've not used this in a very long time. Yeah, this paint also very watery. Weird. Wondering if I can bring these a little bit of a, not a super aggressive, but just a little bit of a highlight color. A little too aggressive. Yeah, right. I don't know if I'm supposed to do like his whole forehead. Very, very harsh on camera, doesn't it? It blends a little bit more naturally my actual eye, so I don't really know what that means. I guess, you know what? Okay. So, wondering to kind of tone that down and blend it. Have this I've never used. But now if I take, I don't really. For this do I need? I don't know. I go back over these spots. What kind of blend it all together? Is that the idea? Ray always just throws out buzzwords and stuff, but nobody actually knows what it means. So basically, I did Haitian flesh tone, flesh wash, and a little bit of a highlight between these two colors on his forehead, his cheeks, and his nose. And then did a little bit of a glaze of this color back over the top of those highlights. Anybody really know? Because I certainly. Anyways, well, that thing we can definitely lather some of this onto this lightsaber. Oh yeah, that's doing exactly what I wanted. Gonna give just a little bit of definition between those colors, which is perfect. And it's pulling a little bit more in this black recess right, which is a tiny little spot, which I wanted specifically a good dark hue in. I'm very tempted to do OSL with the airbrush over his chest. It's just such a hard spot to get in, and it has to go on his face. I just don't know how to do. Yeah, whatever that glaze did, it definitely. This is like really harsh. Definitely tone back those highlights a little bit, but now his face is kind of shiny, which is okay for now, anyways. Not worried about that. I'm going to do the silver on his belt, which actually, while that known oil is setting, I can go ahead and do because I've got a little bit of that paint out right here. Live with that. I'm gonna hit other spots just to add a little bit of something. Add a little bit more texture on that belt. And the lightsabers, I have started doing a little bit of a white base and then gradient down to the blue. I think it just looks better on a miniature. I was doing like all one color and then just like a white line down it, which worked, but I don't think it works as well. So I think typically I will do this. I'll acrylic paint a little bit of white and then I'll blend the two. I'm half tempted to just do a little bit of medium, but I think that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do blue across the whole thing. I don't honestly remember which blue I use. We're gonna use this blue. I feel like that's too like. I don't know. That is a better. Really wish I could remember it because we had a couple people with blue, but we're gonna use tidal wave for some reason. Feels familiar. I don't think it is familiar, but it's familiar, so that's what we're gonna use.
always been a Baggins, living here under the hill. In Baggin. There always will be.
We have to smooth that blue out because that is blotchy color. Maybe it wasn't tidal wave that I used. I do like the color of that blue though for a lightsaber. That doesn't dry particularly clean, huh? Like that lightsaber hilt though. Good. Gotta do his eyes. To tag that little bit of his mustache. A huge improvement.
Welcome to Rivendell, Frodo Baggins.
The I do not have a picture of what he used like, not at least at a quick glance. I can't even talk to y'all while I'm doing it. So, you'll just have to take my word for it. Now, I will say, I've never used Obi Wan, partially because I hated his paint job. I'm way more wanting to use something of stuff that I like, really like, am with their paint jobs. And I did like some terrible OSL with a brush on him originally, and it just looked terrible. Will say I do not like this blue, so might just mix up a blue to cover this with, because speed paint I do not like. But I don't really like either of these blues either. So. And now it's more of a purple because that blue, not a blue. Yeah, that loses a lot of its saturation. Like that. All right, Google. Let's see. Orange, huh? Not gonna say I don't believe it, but this stuff has to come from somewhere. Oh, that's green. Neat color though. Like an aqua green is also a neat color, but not blue. Yes, I really don't just have a blue paint. Okay. You know what? Learn. Let's just try to make girl.
Whom do you serve?
Let us stray. So dark green. Oh, I think I'm just gonna have to use a blue. Although, actually, before we go getting all crazy, well, crazier, about just doubling up the coat, clean this up. Certainly better, but it's definitely lost a little bit of its eelness. Right. And no, how I do this is far from an exact science, or probably even the way that you're supposed to do this. Kind of just winging it, to be completely honest. Kind of just a mix of putting on the color, getting the white around the base, and then mixing in the speed paint with just regular white paint. I get a little bit of that transition. I typically end up way overdoing it. In this case, I kind of underdid it, but I think I'm okay. Okay with that. Now, a couple little scratches on his armor and stuff while that settles before I get near the eyes. And that's where everything goes downhill. But I never did eyes. Decided I'm doing eyes now. Up a little bit more. So I try to do eyes on everything that I paint. More or less. Now. There we go.
Who above all else desire power.
I struggle doing this. I don't know. I almost feel like it's quicker to do these quick. Kind of light passes. I don't typically have the lightest hand in the world, but doing stuff like this is kind of where these little hook tips on these old brushes come in. Alright, I don't want to overdo that. Got a couple on his leg, a couple on his back. Especially because, like, this is where I would leave it, because you're like, oh yeah, I'm never gonna see the eyes like when I'm playing with them. But man, adding eyes makes a world of difference, I think. Just have such a hard time getting in there. But especially I have a hard time only hitting with the tip of the brush. I don't actually like that blue, but we'll wait and see. The easy spot in. Trying to less is more here. My brush just keeps fizzling out with just a little paint on here. I feel like that's pretty good, but I feel like I need to trim off just the bottom edge of that white. But we'll get the black in and we'll see. We'll see from there. This is where it gets really hard because I can't see the brush. You know what? My eyes anyways, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm probably gonna try to get this on camera and it's gonna look like a crazy person. That's pretty good. It don't look so splotchy on camera, but maybe it's just the lighting. Now, blue. Torn on the blue. Half, you can kind of almost see a little bit of it. Kind of want to try to accentuate that white center and still kind of mix the two. I don't know if that's a weird idea, but we're gonna try. I don't know. I don't think I want it pure white, at least not initially. I'm gonna have to fix that. Actually, straight. Kind of feels a little crooked. Like it almost wants to roll off. But, yeah. Trying to darken up that first attempt. I like that because most angles you're just seeing it as blue. One big long edge highlight on a lightsaber. Oh. Honestly, I'm not even gonna try to hit mustache, I don't think. Mainly because it is super. Maybe it's more. God damn it. Okay. Don't. Super careful. I don't want to flood out anything. Little tiny bit. Might not be perfect. Ever so slightly better, and I was already on the fence leaving it, so I can live with that. Anything else? No, I was gonna known oil a little bit on this copper stuff. going to be super visible, but I was just curious. Such a tiny little spot. I think I'd also have to be maybe a little bit more liberal with the Known oil, but that's okay. They're such tiny little pouches. I actually think I more or less got away doing the skin. Not really having to touch up too big. Belt's all done. I think that might be it. I'm gonna leave his lightsaber. I think I'm okay with this kind of like weird hybrid mix of the two styles that I've been doing for these lightsabers. I do wish his boots were ever so slightly brighter, but I don't really want to do any dry brushing over them, just in the off chance that it gets a little too wild, because he is kind of all tonally same. If there's a better way I can show this. Face is kind of getting washed out by the light. Much better, but eyes ended up more or less in the right spot. My shoddy free-handed symbol. Take it. All right. I think relatively short one today, but I think that might be it for it actually. So we did a little bit more of like a tritone skin and a little bit of glazing experimenting. I don't know if it resulted in a success, but it was also a tiny little spot to try to do something like that. So I don't know about that one. And we did some more freehanding. We did a little bit more base coating and washing and stuff with this. So, but this is a world of difference compared to first version of this. And honestly, now that like I'm kind of seeing this color, this tan color that I mixed up in the finished product, kind of. Sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze. I'm pretty happy with that color. The first one was just straight pallid bone, and it was just too creamy color, like too tan. So this is ended up a way better blend of the two. That was, I think, a 50-50 mix of pallid bone and bony matter. And then the white was just a zenithal with known oil over it, essentially. Yeah, I probably could have dry brushed over the white to brighten it up more than it was. But again, I kind of dig the dingy aesthetic anyway. So this will fit right in with the rest of the guys. He looks significantly better, especially in person. I've drawn and done that kind of art for a long time, and looking at anything through a camera is always kind of an issue for me. Which I know is a problem more with the piece than it is anything. But especially tabletop rules, when he's blurry like that, he looks fantastic. So I don't know when the next tabletop stream is going to be. I may try to do something this weekend, especially now that all of these fellas are basically done based. I just have to paint the base rim on this guy. But all these guys are done. The orcs are already done. so I could do the kind of intro scenarios in this book and maybe try to figure out how on earth this is supposed to work. I just have to play against myself though, because I don't have anybody to play against. So we might do that. We might also do the same thing with Age of Sigmar at some point. I've also got Elder Scrolls Call to Arms and the scenarios and stuff that goes along with that, so I could do some of the Elder Scrolls content if you guys would rather do that. But Warcrow's new. Age of Sigmar 4th edition's new, so we might do some of that stuff first. I've also played through, I think, all the starter scenarios for Elder Scrolls. And keep in mind, if I do any of this stuff, I'm going to miss rules, absolutely. Even Legion, which is the only game that we played off and on for like a year and a half at this point. We miss stuff all the time. Literally the day before, I was like, oh yeah, the new Guardian rule, or a Lookout, or Buddy System, or whatever the shit that new Watch Out and Negate 2 hits rule is. And we immediately forgot it. So, there's going to be rules missed. That's fine. As long as you and the person you're playing with know, then you're all good. So, I do think that is going to do it for today, though. This was a pretty short one. We did get the bulk of this guy finished up yesterday. So if you wanted to see this from scratch, you can watch part 1, which was yesterday's stream, to see the whole process. Everything that you see here was done on camera, other than the zenithal, the priming. So if you're interested in that, it's there. But that's going to do it for this one. I will probably be around tomorrow to do some more painting. I might get started on some of these guys for Don't Look Back. Again, that is kind of a gray area. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that. And I do know there's Legion models that I do want to redo. I just need to nail down which and how and work on redoing them. I might just give in, especially given the rules changes, and redo my Rebel Troopers, because those original Troopers are not good. But we'll see about that, because I kind of want to keep them as like a keepsake of like, wow, look how terrible these were. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll probably be around tomorrow, around 4 to 5 Eastern, to do some more painting. Probably some Legion painting, most likely. My little test guy, all my colors on him. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to be streaming Throne tonight, but we'll pick this up again tomorrow and do some more painting. All right. I appreciate you guys being here. If you like this content, please hit the sub button. Please hit the like button. It means a ton. I will see you guys tomorrow. Adios.
The power of the dark side.